Republicans supporting Democrats when occasion arises. In 1991, when there was a troublesome Republican in Louisiana, George H.W. Bush went and campaigned for the Democrat. So did several U.S. Republican senators. And Barry Goldwater, Mr. Conservative himself, supported a Democrat running for Congress in Arizona because he knew that that Democrat would probably be beaten the next time. But in the meantime, the Republican wouldn't have represented the party well. And that's the situation we're in today.
I mean, that 91 race that you're talking about, that was when David Duke was running for governor of North Carolina, or of Louisiana, excuse me. I mean, do you see similarities between that race and this one?
No, not in the type, not in the racism, certainly. I'm not making that allegation at all. But if you remember, and the Democrat that was running as well had been indicted on corruption charges. The bumper stickers at that time were, vote for the crook. It's important. That what I'm saying here is that if you have a Republican that is going to take Republicans down the wrong path, and if you have a Republican, like I said, who loses an election, a free and fair election, and then tries to use the powers of the presidency to hold on to power, then that's a threshold issue. And I think that we Republicans ought to say, let's turn the page, let's move on, even if we have a Democrat in the meantime. And that's where I am.
Well, it's so interesting to hear you say that, because a lot of people who are watching this show and have watched it are familiar with Republicans who come on who say Donald Trump is not fit for office, but I like his policies better than I like Harris's. I mean, I think the first, maybe most prominent, is the former Attorney General, Bill Barr, who has certainly argued that. I wonder, what do you say to those Republicans who argue that because they like his policies better than hers, that it's worth voting for him, even if they think he's not fit for office?
Well, all of us face that as Republicans. We say, well, I'm not going to vote for the former president. We have a lot of people saying that, but I just can't bring myself to vote for a Democrat. And in 2016, I voted for a third-party candidate. 2020, I voted for Joe Biden. And I've thought since 2016, you need to not just, lodge a protest vote. You have to vote for the alternative. And so that's what I've done. I think that I'm not telling my fellow Republicans what to do, but that's what I think should be done.
But in your view, if you're not voting for Donald Trump, but also not voting for Harris, you view it as a wasted vote?
It can be seen that way. And like I say, I know Kamala Harris. I know Tim Walz. And I think that they would represent, frankly, conservative values better than the former president. Certainly respect for the rule of law, free trade, and understanding who our allies are abroad. I've spent the past 3 years abroad representing the United States, and I want to support a presidential candidate who knows that we have very real enemies abroad, but that we also have indispensable allies. They need to be supported. I want to vote for a president who knows the difference, and Kamala Harris knows the difference there.
Yeah, I mean, interesting to hear you say that you think they embody conservative values even more than Donald Trump does. Just at the race overall, this weekend we heard Donald Trump calling Vice President Harris mentally disabled. That is a quote, which obviously is offensive to people who do have disabilities, but he says that on the campaign trail. Today he's saying that Kemp can't get in touch with Biden about the hurricane response. Kemp says that's not true. He talked to him last night. I mean, when you look at what's happened even just the last 72